Picture this. You're lining up the perfect shot on a billiard table. You strike the cue ball, it rockets across the green felt, and smash. It crashes into a stationary red ball, sending them both completely scattering across the table in totally different directions. Now, here's a really fascinating question. Can you predict exactly where those scattered balls are going to end up? Not just a rough guess, but perfectly mapping their exact speeds and angles after the impact, down to the decimal, using literally nothing but physics? By the end of this explainer, you'll know how to do exactly that. You're going to understand the core concepts of two-dimensional collisions, the formulas behind them, and exactly how to apply them to real examples. We're about to turn all that 2D chaos into simple, solvable, step-by-step math. Let's dive in. Section 1. Breaking down the axes. Okay, to solve a complex two-dimensional problem, our absolute first step is actually to simplify it. And that brings us to our biggest cheat code for these problems, the point mass. A point mass is just a structureless particle that cannot rotate or spin. In the real world, sure, a pool ball might have topspin or a hook, but for now we're ignoring all of that. We're just assuming our objects are perfect little dots that have mass but zero rotation. Next, we set up what physicists call the standard laboratory setup. And this brilliantly shows how we make the math work for us, not against us. See, we actually get to choose our coordinate system. So we set our target object, let's call it mass 2, to be completely stationary. Then we align our grid so the incoming object, mass 1, is moving straight down the x-axis right towards it. Let's pause right there for a quick check. If our incoming object is moving perfectly straight down the x-axis, why is the initial momentum on the y-axis exactly 0? Think about that for a second. Well, because the incoming object literally has no vertical movement yet. It's moving perfectly flat along the horizontal. By intentionally aligning our grid this way, we force the initial y-axis momentum to start at 0. This massively simplifies our math, because when we calculate the total momentum before the crash, there is absolutely nothing happening on the y-axis. So, the crucial takeaway here is that we split our single collision into two independent one-dimensional equations. Over on the left, the x-axis equation uses cosines to find the horizontal spread. But on the right side, the y-axis relies on sines. And do you see that beautiful 0 on the left side of the y-axis equation? That's our clever laboratory setup in action. The total vertical momentum after the crash has to completely cancel itself out to equal that initial 0. Section 2. The dark room mystery. Now that we've got the basic idea, let's put this into a real-world scenario. Imagine you're standing just outside a pitch-black room. You slide a 0.250 kilogram object across a frictionless floor into the darkroom at a speed of 2 meters per second. Suddenly, you hear a sharp clack. It hit something. A moment later, your object slides back out of the darkroom at a 45-degree angle, but now it's only moving at 1.5 meters per second. Now, we happen to know the unseen target inside weighed 0.400 kilograms. So what exactly happened to that unseen target in the dark? Let's use our equations to find out. Here's the step-by-step breakdown. First, we take our x and y equations from earlier. Since we're looking for two unknowns, the angle and the speed of the target object, we divide the y equation by the x equation. This brilliantly creates the trigonometric identity for tangent. Solving this out tells us the target scattered at an angle of roughly 312 degrees, meaning it shot down and to the right. Second step, we plug that angle right back into our simpler y equation. And finally, we solve for the target speed, revealing it scattered at exactly 0.886 meters per second. Mystery solved, without ever having to turn on the lights. Now wait a second, you might be asking yourself, why do we absolutely need both equations to solve this? Couldn't we just use the x-axis formula since it has all the original momentum? The answer comes down to a fundamental rule of algebra. Two unknowns require two independent equations. Because we didn't know the target's final velocity and we didn't know its final angle, a single equation would leave us completely stuck. By splitting the real world into perpendicular x and y axes, physics gifts us the two independent equations we need to crack the case. Section 3. Equal mass elastic collisions. This is where we look at a highly common scenario. What happens when both colliding objects weigh exactly the same? We're back to our billiard scenario. If mass 1 and mass 2 are equal, and we assume an elastic collision, meaning no kinetic energy is lost to things like heat or sound, something really magical happens. When you set the masses equal in our equations and apply the conservation of kinetic energy, all that complex math we just walked through collapses down into a single, beautiful geometric truth. The cosine of the difference between the two final angles equals exactly 0.
And what angle has a cosine of 0? Exactly 90 degrees. This means that whenever two equal mass point particles have a perfectly elastic collision, where one is initially at rest, they will literally always separate at a perfect 90-degree angle, every single time.
But let's test this out against reality. If you play enough pool, you know this is mostly true. But sometimes you'll see a shot that clearly breaks this 90-degree rule. If the math says it's always 90 degrees, why does the real world sometimes completely disagree?
The answer actually takes us all the way back to the very start of our explainer. Real pool balls have spin. When a player applies English, or spin, to the cue ball, they're introducing angular momentum into the system. And that violates our very first rule, treating the objects as point masses that can't rotate. That spin carries extra energy and momentum, which bends that perfect 90-degree separation. But when there's no spin, that 90-degree rule holds up beautifully.
Section 4. Subatomic physics and beyond. Let's bring this all together. We started off talking about pool balls, but this simple math actually unlocks the secrets of the universe. Before we wrap up, let's summarize the key points you need to take away from this. First, to solve a two-dimensional collision, you've got to break the motion down into perpendicular x and y axes. Second, set up your coordinate system so the target is stationary and the initial y momentum is perfectly zero. And third, remember that in a perfectly elastic collision between two point masses of equal weight, they will always separate at exactly a 90-degree angle.
So why does all of this matter? Because these exact formulas aren't just for bar games. Over a century ago, Ernest Rutherford fired tiny helium-4 atoms into completely stationary gold-197 atoms. By measuring the angles at which they scattered, using the exact same 2D collision math we just learned, he discovered the atomic nucleus. He figured out the entire structure of the atom without ever actually seeing it, exactly like our darkroom mystery. Now, how exactly did he pull that off? Well, you'll just have to tune in to our next explainer on nuclear physics to find out.